All right, we're live. Hello, 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 everyone. This is Veiah, and I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you are, because we're global. So today we have a very special guest, Mr. Dave Williams, and I want to introduce you to him because he's fantastic and he can help you in so many ways. So we or I'm not gonna take so much time. We gonna get going. So welcome, Mr. Williams, or how should I call you, Dave? Or
Oh, yes,
how is it?
please.
Okay, Dave. Okay, good morning, Dave. It's morning in my time. I don't know what time are you right now.
It's about 6 o'clock in the evening here in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
but isn't it a great day to be alive?
And thank you for being my guest. I am honored to have you in my YouTube channel. And anybody who likes to uh, subscribe or like because we give value, please do. And so let's get going, Dave. So who are you? Who are you? Tell the world, who are you?
Bless you. Well, first of all, thank you very much indeed for having me. And just to echo what's been said there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Well, my name's Dave Williams from davewilliamscoaching.com. And basically, I'm a personal coach. So I do one-to-one coaching and I help busy professionals improve their confidence.
All right, all right. So a very good question usually is because you are coaching. Why? I mean, what is your big why? So, kind of, you can share your journey as to why you came upon as a coach.
Certainly, and thank you very much indeed for the opportunity. Well, maybe you're like I am. When you're at school, college, university, or whatever it was, you thought that you'd just get a job, then you'd actually find your ideal partner and possibly have the 2.4 children, which the statistics normally suggest. Now, where the 0.4 comes from, really got no idea. And thought that life would just go along nice and steady. But again, maybe you're like I am, and when you get more experienced in life, you find that it's got loads of peaks of troughs all over the place. And if you'd have been with myself in 2015, my coaching business and training business was the best on record that I was having, and it was going to be, like I said, world beating as far as I was concerned. My partner had found her passion, which was doing pictures, hence the one behind me there. And if you'd have actually been with me on the 10th of December in 2015, you'd have actually been entering this square, white, clean smelling room that was quite cool and eerie, really. And covering about a third of that room was this blue type shower curtain. And as I pulled back the curtain, there she is. There's Helen, or Hel as I call her, my partner. Now, Hel's about 5'10" with shortish brown hair and one of those graying streaks that runs from the front to the back that Hel absolutely despises. And Hel's full of fun. She's my rock. She's my world. Hel's the love of my life. But we were at the Royal Derby Hospital and Hel wasn't being prepared for an operation. She was being prepared for the morgue.
Wow.
And if you'd been with me on this February evening in 2016, you'd have been sat in my corner black upholstery group with white walls either side and a red feature wall in front of you. I know the bookcase is in that corner and the TV is in that corner. But this particular evening, I couldn't see them because the darkness I was feeling inside was matching the darkness of this non-lit room. See, the reality was I was totally rock bottom. I was depressed. I was lost. I was wondering the point of life. And I don't know what happened next. It may well have been a few minutes. It may well have been just a few seconds. But the next thing that I knew, I was standing over the kitchen units with my arm stretched out and a chef's knife in the other hand with the blade over my wrist. I knew at that particular time that I needed help and I had to make a decision. And the decision was, in reality, to stay where I was. And I knew the reality was I wouldn't be around that much longer, or to make a decision to change. And that's what I did. I made a decision to change because it would have been unfair on Hell to go through what she went through, and then for me to follow suit, but through my own decision. So I went searching for answers, and as we know, the internet's got loads of information on there, hasn't it? But the reality was it didn't work for me. So I started putting some strategies in place, and lo and behold, what I found was over a period of time, I started to make improvements, and I started to get better and better and start to feel alive again and feel like myself. And then I started sharing these strategies with other people, and I found that they were getting great results, but in a much shorter space of time. And so where do you find me now? So you find me as an award-winning coach now and speaker, and no longer am I depressed because, as you can probably tell, I'm confident with everything that I do. And no longer am I lost, because now it's a case I've got passion for helping other people improve their lives so they can live to the maximum rather than just existing.
Right.
So I hope that helps give you an idea of my particular story, because in answer to your question specifically, I've now got a passion for helping other people, because so many people go through so many challenges in life. And when those challenges happen, and a term that I use is we get hit by curveballs, then quite often people lose themselves and they lose their confidence. And I personally think that's a travesty, because we're all unique, we're all special. We've all got a gift to give to ourselves first and then share with other people. But it's very difficult to do that when these challenges sort of take over, if you will. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, you have a why. You want to, help others. And while you were talking about it, a word popped up, in my head, like he has the intention when you were going through that rock bottom, and then, you are looking for answers. And so a lot of us, I'm sure, one way or another, we have gone through that moment. Okay. I'm sorry. What happened?
No problem.
I don't know what
That's
happened.
the beauty of life.
Disconnected. So I was just getting ready. I need to find him because I was going to email, but then for whatever reason, my email doesn't work either. I was wondering what's going on. So anyway, I'm so sorry about that. And
No problem at all.
So yeah, as I was just saying, that a lot of times, we I mean, either once or even twice, sometimes more, that we get to a point where we hit rock bottom. And sometimes, like you said, you realize that you need help that time, so you start your journey, right? And some people don't want to help, don't want the help, don't want to ask for help, for whatever reason. And it could be something like in the past that had happened to them. And so it's really sad to to let the past take over what you need to do at the present, because the truth is all of us are the same. We all need the same love. We need to be loved. We want to love. We need to be loved. That kind of thing. And so
totally,
we want to help others, and others want to help us too. So basically we all are doing the same thing, But sometimes we just tend to feel like, okay, I'm embarrassed because, or I'm ashamed, or because, or, guilty of something. It's because of the past that we are holding on to and not letting go. And
Totally agree.
it's really sad, right, Dave? Because if, like, for just in your case, if you did not, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna say this against men, but um, some people tells me that men have a difficult way of, reaching out. But
Yeah.
I don't think, I think it's like a personal preference, right? Some people can.
Take
I
three.
can't do it. Lord, what are you trying to do right now?
Technology is brilliant when it works, but it's a nightmare when it doesn't.
I know, this is the first time it happened. I mean, I'm glad it connected, because like there was a time it did not connect, and I feel bad for that, I guess. But anyway, so just
We can only control what we can control, though, can't we?
right,
We've got no control over the
exactly.
internet. So,
Exactly. That's a really good way of, letting go and just let it be.
yeah,
And, there's no stress because of that. And look at us, we're laughing. So laugh with us.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, yeah, I mentioned curveballs a bit earlier on. This is a classic curveball, isn't it?
All
And
right.
the
Yes.
reality is, yeah, as far as both of us are concerned, we can either get wound up about it, or
Uh-huh.
we can persevere and find the way to make it work.
Uh-huh.
And that's the thing with any curveballs.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, don't get me wrong, some curveballs are an awful lot easier to resolve than others.
Yeah.
But it's, as you correctly say, it's all about how we view it and how we adapt to the situation. But yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in answer to what you were saying just before, though, as far as guys as a generalization not reaching out, you're exactly right. And yeah, the statistics show this all of the time. And yeah, as a generalization, if you go into male and female energies and everything, that's without boring everyone here,
Mm-hmm.
it's a case of guys. Well, I've got to resolve this. We can become quite stubborn,
Yeah.
and the reality is, from my personal experience, I would say about 3/4 of my personal clients are female,
Mm.
because they are more inclined to reach out and search for the assistance, because they've identified an issue, and then they've identified, right, how do I resolve this issue? And because ladies, I find anyway, and obviously I haven't met every lady on the planet, there's still time, but I haven't done. And what I find the vast majority of the time is ladies are always thinking of the what if. The what if I could resolve this, how would things be? Whereas guys, it's just a case of, no, I'll just plow through this and I'll
Mm-hmm.
resolve it somehow. Whereas sometimes, and you'll know yourself, quite often the easiest way to get something resolved is to find an expert that's been there already, that can give you the skill set, if you will, that's going to help you accelerate your journey an awful lot quicker.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's like a fresh perspective, because we're so um into our life. Like, okay,
Yeah,
this is what I do, this is how I do it, and that's what I know.
yeah,
However, if somebody's looking at you, they look at it differently. And so it's really a good thing to have a second pair of eyes, like a coach, a mentor, to
yeah.
help you if you are in a difficult situation, or like you have some struggles. It does help. And um but find the right one. you know
Totally. And
yeah, it's really important. If
yeah,
you click, like, okay,
yes,
the person, the coach is really looking for you, then that's good. It's not
yeah,
just like, okay, I just need to find somebody You have to really see if you guys are a good fit. So it will work because no matter how good a person, I mean, let's say this person, the coach is good, but not really in the same journey with you, then it's not going to help you because it does need well, Dave can explain that very well, right? Because you are the expert here. Let's hear from you.
What would you like explaining? 'Cause I
No,
could
I
go
mean,
on for days here.
as a coach, just your the way you have learned as a coach. How is it? How are you able to help someone that you coach?
Right. Okay. Thank you very much indeed for the clarity. And the reason why I framed it like that, with so many people, one of the biggest drawbacks is they have is clarity of where they want to get to.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And most people focus on the problem instead of the solution.
Right.
And that's whether it's personally or indeed as far as businesses are concerned. They seem to just get focused on the problem. Now, identify the problem, yes, but
Mm-hmm.
take about 10% of your time doing that, and then the 90, that's 90%, focusing on the solution and getting it resolved.
Right.
And just to go back what you were saying a bit earlier on, as far as finding the right coach for you, most definitely. And something that I do before I will ever take on a personal client is
Mm-hmm.
we'll have a conversation for about half an hour to just check that there's some synergy. And if there's no synergy, then I'll try and forward them on to someone else that I know that can help them,
Mm-hmm.
that their personality types are going to be more suited. And when I'm working with personal clients, and one of the first things I do is look to get to the core of the issue, because there are so many people that believe they have got this problem, if you will. But the reality is it's the presenting problem, okay,
Mm-hmm.
which may well sound a bit surreal and a bit woo-woo, and I don't mean it to be that, but that's what they believe it is. But with having a conversation and just inquiring about that a little bit more, you find that that is not the real problem. The real problem is here at the core.
Yes.
And as you mentioned a bit earlier on, something that may well have happened several years ago
Mm-hmm.
that is actually still dictating our behaviors now, that is causing this presenting problem belief. And quality coaches will get through that, find the gap there, find the core, because it's the core that needs resolving. Because when you get the core of the issue handled, then you've 99% of the time you find these presenting problems disappear anyway, and then do not reappear. So when I'm like I say, we're working or with a client or a potential client, then it's what we do. We ask questions to find out what is really going on, because unless you find out what's really going on, then how do you expect to be able to help anyone?
Right.
you know but
Exactly.
there are so many people that just jump in, oh, I've got this problem with this, no problem, we can help you, and well, maybe you can with that, but if you get to the core, maybe you find out that you can't really help that potential client. And that's why I feel, anyway, it's so important to find out what the client needs, have a conversation, and get to the core of the issue. And from my experience, anyway, with most clients, they don't know what the core of the issue is. And that then comes into the quality and the skill set of the coach to be able to get through to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's
for
very true.
many, sorry, I was just going to say, for many, I've not worked with certain potential clients because in the first 30 minutes or whatever it is, the clarity call, as I call it, we've got through to the core. And as soon as I've had that realization, they've said, look, I know what I need to do. Thank you very much for your time. Brilliant. Because as far as I'm concerned, as a coach, I've still served that person.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
for me, it's about the client's results. It's never
Mm-hmm.
about the money.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you
That's true.
serve enough people to a high enough quality, then the reality is they're going to refer people back to you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Always, it's like when you do something, I always myself tell myself long time ago, it's not about money. If you do something you like, money will follow you. And
Yes.
that's very true. And
Yeah.
I personally have, seen that. And I always tell people that, but I, I think some people just, well, we all have different experience, right?
Of
So,
course.
so when your experience is scarcity, then of course you want to uh, go to that path where, okay, how can you're looking into the scarcity of mostly money,
Yeah.
right? And we're so consumed by this material world that we forget that that's not the only way to live. There's more to that, which is more fulfilling. But of course, we choose what we want, right? You choose
Totally.
life. And so when you choose something, when you decide on something and you keep going on something, and then you don't see any result, then maybe a good help would be investing on a coach,
Mm.
right? So that's where Dave comes in to help
Bless you.
you. To all
Uh,
our viewers, if you are going through a struggle and you don't know where to turn to, you can, talk to some coaches. Give you like Dave give you like a 30-minute uh, consultation, right, Dave? So
yes.
that really helps. And like you said, some people set up an appointment with you, and then after 30 minutes, like, okay, now I know what to do, so I'm gonna go and thank you, and that's fine
Yeah.
because his purpose is to serve, and that's very important. A coach that serves is the best way to go. You can never go wrong with a coach that wants to serve, not
Exactly.
because of money. Money is nothing compared to the fulfillment of serving, right? Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, kind of like I want to just ask you one question, like, what are your personally, like, you in 5 years, what are your goals in five
In
years
5 years.
Yes, where do you see yourself?
Oh, yeah. That's a very good question, and thank you very much indeed for that. Wasn't expecting that one. So,
Well, I'm just curious, because you've been coaching for how long? 15 years, was it?
yeah, at this level,
Mhm.
5 years.
5 years old.
And the reason why I frame it at this level, realistically, I could say that I've been coaching for about 30 years.
Mm.
However, my viewpoint of coaching at that particular time was more mentoring.
Mm.
And since I've gone on my particular journey and learned from some of the world leaders, such as Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, as an example, then that's why I class myself as coaching at a different level now.
Mhm.
And so in 5 years' time, I'm not going to be retired. I know that with hair this color, I don't look like I'm 21. I appreciate that. It's
Hey,
called life
we
experience.
gotta be positive.
But I'm not going to retire because I love what I do, and as you hopefully gathered, I do have a real passion for helping people. But the several things I've got in the pipeline, and in 5 years' time, there's a course that I will have put together later this year, beginning of next, of which I want that to be in schools
Oh,
because it's
wow.
going to be helping the kids. Because what we've got to bear in mind, the kids are our futures.
Yes.
And there's so much with, and I'm not knocking when I say this, but so much with social media and everything along those lines. While some of it's great, some of it, let's be honest, is
Mm-hmm.
mind numbing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the kids that are being impacted with this. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a course that I'm putting together that, and it's called my Win to Live Roadmap, of which is designed to give anyone that takes the course additional confidence,
Mm-hmm.
but it also gives them the skills as well to, as you referred to a bit earlier on, the likes of challenges we've had some time ago, to overcome those so they don't become a burden.
Yeah.
There's a term that I used recently, where you can actually turn your millstones, as in the adverse challenges that we've had, into milestones. In as much as, instead of it dragging you back all the way, you can use it as your rocket fuel, if you will, to propel yourself to a phenomenal future. Because we all know of so many people that, from the outside looking in, have had such adverse things that have happened in their life, but
Right.
they're living such a phenomenal life.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making the best of their skills, but they're also impacting other people in a positive way as well. And so that's one of my key cores. And there's events that we've actually got going on later this year in the UK, admittedly. So in 5 years, although I've done virtual in 4 different continents now, I would love to
Wow.
be able to do them live in the different continents as well, because I think that's going to be a phenomenal experience also. And I've got my first book coming out later this year, which is Confidence for Life. And
Mm.
that's due out at the end of this month, even, should I say. And there's going to be several books around confidence that are going to be coming out.
Oh, wow.
So there's going to be an awful lot going on. And realistically, within the next 5 years, I'm looking to have a 7-figure business, if not more. And that sounds very grandiose, and I don't mean it that way, for the simple reason I will have more than enough through helping people anyway. So
Mm.
a good chunk of that, I'm going to be reinvesting in people's futures and the people in the surrounding areas that are not quite as fortunate as I am. And there's a few things that I have in mind that are both local, national, and
Mm-hmm.
indeed international, to actually help people less fortunate, like I say,
Mm-hmm.
because there's an awful lot to do with sex trafficking at the moment, which personally I think is an absolute travesty that that sort of thing happens. So
Yeah.
I want to invest in that, so that can either be reduced or ideally eliminated, because we don't have the need for things like that. And it's just other people profiting
Mm.
from other people's misery.
Yeah.
And it's something that, again, I've got an absolute passion about, because I've been fortunate with so many of my clients that they have become, should I say, inspirations to me,
Mm-hmm.
because their journeys to get where they are in life, and some of them have been absolutely harrowing, and for obvious reasons I'm not going to share them, but for them to go through what they've gone through
Mm-hmm.
and then have the courage to reach out to me
Mm-hmm.
and then share that story with me, then I feel that I've got a gift that they've reached
Mm-hmm.
out. And I think it's an even bigger gift that what they've done with their life, when there are so many people that are struggling, that in comparison, it doesn't compare.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel very humbled and very honored to have met these people and just been a little part of their life, because they've enriched my life massively, and possibly more than they even realize.
Wow.
So I hope that answers your question again. Bit
I can
elongated
see, I mean,
again,
you
but
got something, you got so much there cooking. You're cooking a lot of stuff, which is good. I mean, you kind of mentioned about, okay, it's not about the money. Yes, but you still have to put a goal on it, but
yeah,
just it's not like the only thing that you want to do. It's part of it, because we have to put things like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, then that helps you kind of uh, go forward because you have the goal, you have the intention of getting to where you want to. But I want to mention that you kind of gave me a little gift this time when you were speaking. You mentioned that when people share their stories to you, it's like an inspiration. They gave you inspiration. That was kind of like, for me personally, my way of thinking was different before. I was like, every time I hear sad stories about other people, I feel like guilty. I feel guilty that my life is good. And I was like, I always say this. And I remember, I realize now that a lot of times I always say, oh my goodness, I feel guilty that I have a good life and this person doesn't. How can I help? How can I serve? But in my mind, I keep saying the same thing, that I feel guilty, but I don't really have a control with that, but that's their life, right? But for you to say that it inspires you, then I realized that, hey, I should use the word inspired instead of guilty. That way, it it is more positive to me and also to the world, to people that because everything around us is like lessons for us to learn,
Yes.
right? So the inspiration is more fitting to say than being guilty. And I know a lot of people, the reason why I brought this up, because I know a lot of people say the same thing. Like I said, oh, I'm so guilty because this person, I don't want to brag about it because I feel guilty that this person didn't get it, things like that. And that's why I mentioned this, to remind each and every one of us, because I needed to, that it's not, we don't have to be guilty if something happens, you know, unless I did it myself, then yeah, I should not. But without the intention of harming others, if your intention is good,
Mm.
then you should not be guilty. And I've never really have an intention that's good or that's bad. So now I see that, yeah, I should not be guilty about something. And so for our viewers out there, you are an inspiration, and you can be an inspiration to everyone, by sharing your stories. It doesn't have to be the best story, but just sharing your journey. Who knows, your story may help someone who is also going through that journey. And so I go back to the sentence that, excuse me, you are an inspiration. We just don't think about it because, we're so humble. Sometimes it's just like, no, I'm just doing my best. I'm just doing it this life. But the truth is, you are an inspiration. And I cannot stress that enough today, that remember, you are an inspiration to anybody, to the world. And so keep going, inspire people, and believe and share your story. Just like Dave, we had the interview today because I want Dave to share his story. So for some that are going through something in their journey in life, there is help. There is a way for you to keep going. You can reach out, you can keep it to yourself, it's your decision. But we all are the same. We want to help, and sometimes we need help. We want to love, and sometimes we need to be loved. And it goes on and on. I'm just saying these two things because we don't really have that time. But yeah, so go on and keep inspiring others. Dave, any last words?
Yeah, along those lines, there was a quote that I came up with some time ago, and that was, and I hope it's okay to share, and that's always be yourself 100% of the time,
Yes,
because you just don't know who you're about to influence.
yes, I like that. And I believe that too, because you are you. You are created in this world
Exactly.
for a reason. You have a purpose in this world, and you know, just be you. And so, anyway, thank you, Dave, for a very inspiring moment today. And I hope you keep going and inspire people. And of course, for our viewers, if you're inspired by this interview, please like, subscribe, comment. I'd like to hear from you too, because if there's anything we can do to help you, Dave and I, we both love to help you, love to help others, you know? So that's it for today. Stay tuned for our next guest. Bye-bye. All right.